She said, "If you don't like how I flirt, the door is right there." I responded, "Thanks for the reminder." She returned home to find the apartment empty and a note on the counter. It wasn't a farewell letter. It was her 30-day eviction notice from the landlord, who she didn't realize was me. Most people think owning property is all about finances, mortgages, and equity. While that's true, it's not the whole picture. At its core, owning property is about control. It's about having the keys and knowing for certain that you have the final say over the space you inhabit. It's a lesson I learned long ago, and it's one my ex-girlfriend Isabel learned the hard way about 6 months ago. Before I explain what transpired, you need to understand the background. About 3 years ago, before I met Isabel, I purchased a 2-bedroom condo in a great area of the city. I was doing well as a freelance software architect and wanted to invest in something solid. Following my lawyer's advice, I bought it through an LLC I created. It was a straightforward legal move for asset protection, meaning the condo was owned by Oakwood Properties LLC, not by me personally. This also provided a degree of privacy. A year later, I met Isabel, who was 28 at the time. She was captivating, the kind of person who could walk into a room and attract everyone's attention in 5 minutes. I'm a 32-year-old man, fairly quiet, and I was drawn to her energy. We fell hard and fast. After about 6 months of dating, we decided to move in together. She was eager to leave her tiny studio, and I had a spare bedroom. This is where I made a choice that would change everything 2 years later. I didn't want money to create a weird power dynamic between us. I wanted us to be partners. So, I told her that I was renting a nice condo from a small investment company and that I'd love for her to move in with me as an equal tenant. We signed a standard lease agreement, with the landlord listed as Oakwood Properties LLC. The rent payments went to a specific bank account set up for the LLC. She paid her half, and I paid mine. All communication about the apartment, maintenance requests, and lease questions went through a property manager, which was really just a dedicated email address I managed myself. She had no clue. To me, it wasn't a secret with bad intentions. It was a clean, practical way to organize our shared life. It kept our finances separate, and our living situation was defined by a clear and fair agreement. For 2 years, everything worked perfectly. We built a life in that condo. I loved her and truly believed we were headed toward marriage. But Isabel had a flaw, a deep-seated need for male validation that she masked as being bubbly and flirtatious. At first, I tried to ignore the little things. We'd be at a bar, and she'd spend 20 minutes leaning over, laughing a bit too loudly, and touching the bartender's arm just to score a free drink while I sat at the table feeling invisible. Then it escalated. She had a work husband named Greg. Their texts were constant, filled with winking emojis and inside jokes. She insisted he was harmless and that it was just how people had to act to get ahead in her office. She talked about him all the time, how funny and charming he was. When I expressed discomfort, she became defensive. "Oh my God, are you seriously trying to be a controlling boyfriend? It's 2025. Grow up." I tried to trust her. I really did. I aimed to be the cool, secure boyfriend, but it was eating away at me. The disrespect felt like a constant, low-grade fever. The final straw came about 7 months ago. We were at a friend's house party. I was in the kitchen getting us drinks when I saw her across the living room talking to a guy I didn't know. She was playing with her hair, tilting her head, and laughing at everything he said. Then I watched her take out her phone, enter her number, and hand it back to him with a wink. It was so blatant, so shameless. I didn't say anything at the party. I waited until we were in the car driving home, keeping my voice calm. "Hey, who was that guy you were talking to for most of the night?" She immediately got defensive. "Which guy?" "I talk to a lot of people. I'm a social person, you know." "The one you gave your number to," I said quietly. She scoffed and turned to look out the passenger window. "He's just a guy. We were just talking." "God, you're so insecure." "I can't have friends." "It didn't look like just talking, Isabel," I said. "It looked like you were flirting hard, and it was right in front of me." "That's disrespectful." That's when she turned to me, her eyes flashing with anger, and delivered the line that would end our entire relationship. "You know what? This is who I am. I'm flirty. I'm fun. If you don't like my flirting, the door is right there." I just kept driving. The silence in the car was thick. She expected me to argue, to plead, to back down like I always did, but her words hung in the air. "The door is right there." She had no idea how right she was. "Thanks for the reminder," I said. And that was the end of the conversation. I didn't have a grand plan for revenge, not at first, but her words echoed in my mind for days. The door is right there. It was an ultimatum and a challenge, and she didn't realize I was the one who owned the door, the walls, the floors, and the lock. My decision became clearer over the next week. This wasn't a partnership, it was a tenancy, and the tenant had violated the clause of basic human respect. I realized I couldn't live like that anymore, always wondering and feeling like second best. So, I began the process of moving out of my own home. It took 3 weeks. I was methodical. I rented a small storage unit a few miles away. Every day while she was at work, I packed a few boxes, not clothes or furniture, but the things that really mattered. My grandfather's guitar, boxes of old photos, my collection of first edition books, my computer equipment. Things that made the apartment feel like home. The place gradually became emptier and more generic, but she was so caught up in her own world that she didn't even notice. The next phase was the legal part. I logged into the property manager email account and drafted a formal, legally sound letter citing state tenancy laws. It was a typical notice to vacate, giving 30 days notice for the lease termination since the owner intended to reclaim the property for personal use. I printed it on official-looking letterhead for Oakwood Properties LLC. The final phase was the actual move. I chose a day when she was scheduled to attend a work conference. I hired movers who arrived at 9 a.m. By 3 p.m., every piece of my furniture, my couch, my bed, my desk, my dining table was gone. The apartment was now a hollow, echoing space, filled only with her belongings, which seemed small and lost in the emptiness. I did a final walkthrough, cleaning the kitchen counters until they shone, then placed the folded eviction notice right in the middle of the kitchen island where I knew she always dropped her keys. I took one last look around and left. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel sad. I just felt quiet. I can only imagine the scene when she came home that night. I received my first text at 8:15 p.m. This isn't funny. Where is all our stuff? Followed by, Ben, where are you? Where are you? Why is the apartment empty? Then came a photo of the eviction notice along with, what the hell is this? Who is Oakwood Properties? And the dawning realization. That's your LLC, isn't it? Oakwood, the street you grew up on. You did this. Her calls started immediately after. I let the first few go to voicemail, then answered one. I didn't say anything. I just listened to her scream, a torrent of rage, disbelief, and threats. When she finally paused to catch her breath, I said in a perfectly calm voice, you said if I didn't like your flirting, the door was right there. I decided I didn't like it, so I'm showing you the door. As the property owner, that's my right. You have 30 days to vacate per the law. Please direct all future communication to the property manager listed on the notice. I hung up and blocked her number. Of course, her friends got involved. I received a few nasty messages calling me a manipulative psycho, but I ignored them. I had already won. My property manager email received an angry, typo-filled message from her threatening legal action. I had my actual lawyer respond with a single polite email reiterating the terms of the legal 30-day notice, and kindly reminding her that failure to vacate on time would result in formal eviction proceedings being filed with the court. She never emailed again. She moved out on the last possible day. My lawyer, acting as the property manager, did the final walkthrough and reported that she left the place a mess, so her security deposit was used for cleaning fees. It's been 6 months. I moved back into my condo a month after she left. It took a while to expel the lingering scent of her lavender candles, but now it smells like home again, like wood oil and coffee. It smells like peace. She viewed the door as a figure of speech, a tactic to shut down an argument she was losing. She never considered that it might be a real door leading out of a real apartment that she didn't own. She gave me an ultimatum, thinking I was the one with everything to lose. She had no idea I was the one holding the master key.